Hello everybody, Ben Woodruff here with another falconry video. Today's video, I'm going to be talking about the truth of falconry. And it's a very hot day today here in northern Utah. And I hope you appreciate I turned off all the fans and air conditioning in my house with all the modern luxuries so that you don't have blowing, so you can actually hear my voice. So I'm going to be sweating through this. Hope you appreciate that fact. But you know what? Going out today a little bit, went to check on some swainsons hawks. Swainsons hawks are an amazing species. They arrive in Utah rather late in the breeding season, and so most of our species have fledged, but swainsons hawks are just having their babies are not fledged at all yet. So I went and checked some of those out earlier, and mom was dutifully shielding the babies from the direct sunlight. And I thought it was kind of neat that even in this hot weather, that animals are out there doing their thing. It's kind of cool. So what I want to talk about today is kind of the essence of falconry. A lot of times I hear people, I've seen this in my life. I was born in 1978, so I'm too old to be young, too young to be old. But I'm old enough to have seen kind of attitude shift towards wildlife. I kind of grew up in the tail end of that corner sort of age, going to go out there and go hunting and conquering the wild. And now we have much more of a gentler approach of wanting to experience nature and experience the wild. It's all part of the human experience, and it's all part of the natural world. It absolutely is. But part of that is this. I've seen over time a lot of negativity come towards falconry, a lot of misunderstanding, people who don't fully understand falconry and what it's all about. And so with that in mind, I wanted to talk a little bit about this, because falconry, here's the principle to remember. Falconry is a completely natural experience for both predator and prey. Meaning, out in the wilds, out in nature, where every single day a predator's got to hunt. It's got to get a meal in order to survive. And every day, prey animals have to escape getting caught in order to survive. That's natural. If humans went extinct, this would still be occurring every day out in the wilds, regardless of whether or not humans existed and regardless of whether or not falconry existed. So we do everything we can to disconnect from nature. We really do. We try to, we go to the store to buy our food, and, the farms that raise the plants and animals we eat, we don't think about that. We're just like, here, I've got a bunch of chicken drumsticks. Yeah, they came from a chicken. They came from a living animal. But one of the attitudes that I find very strange is the fact that we seem to vilify falconry. And I'll tell you why I think that is in a second. But we don't when it comes to mammals, which is very, very odd. Humans are connected to mammals. We understand mammals. We don't even call them mammals. They're the same taxon like birds, reptiles, mammals. We don't say mammals. We say, I'm into dogs. We don't say I'm into mammals. We say, I'm into horses, not I'm into mammals. But people are like, oh, hey, Ben Woodruff, yeah, you're really into birds, huh? That's the equivalency of saying I'm into mammals. We're very disconnected to birds. We're very disconnected to reptiles. We very much do associate with mammals. We understand them. We connect with them. We resonate more. We see ourselves in them more because we ourselves are also mammals. Therefore, I find it incredibly strange that people have such a hard time with falconry, but have absolutely no problem whatsoever with it with mammals. So let me give you an example. Dogs, which we selectively bred and domesticated out of wolves, are social animals. They feel deep emotions. We see it. We have connected them deeply to be able to feel very close to us, to express emotions. We know when our dogs are sad. We know when our dogs are excited. We know this. We know these emotions. We know they feel lost when they lose somebody they love. We understand all of this. And that's just how it goes. And yet, we have no problem societally with taking a puppy away from its mom. We'll be like, hey, we're going to take this puppy. Here you go. Oh, you bought a dog. Here you go. Here's your puppy. Great. We don't think anything of it. Horse. Oh, yeah, it's a certain age. We're going to sell this young colt. We don't think of anything of it. We don't think of it with rabbits. We don't think of, and some animals that matters more than others. But we don't give a second thought about the fact that, wait, the mom might miss it, and yet we do with birds. I do not understand this, because this is the exact opposite of what human thinking normally is. Again, normally we associate with mammals, and we disassociate with birds. They're just birds. They flutter around there. I don't really understand them. And yet, if you are to, if you get a bird from a breeder, you're like, hey, I'm going to buy a Harris hawk, and I go to a breeder and I purchase one of the babies and, I'm going to go fly it. People are like, that's terrible. You took a baby bird away from its mother. It's like, I see you have a puppy. You don't seem to care about the fact that you took that puppy away from its mom that actually did care. Birds, for the most part, do not care. Most birds are not incredibly social. There are some, but birds evolved from dinosaurs. They've got lizard brains. They are intelligent, but their way of thinking is very different. It's about survival strategy. It's not about love and connection. It's not about investment. Okay, a dog will invest in its puppy and it'll nurse it for a long time, feeding it milk. Birds grow way faster than mammals do. And it's about, hey, you eat as much food as you can, as fast as you can, and you fledge and you get out of that nest and out of my care as soon as possible. And birds strategize. I mean, they're not thinking this, but they strategize, and they'll have basically spares. They have spare young because they know some of the young isn't going to survive. Now, it might be that the older chicks are going to, the younger chicks are backup chicks. It's sad. It's cruel, but nature is cruel. Younger birds are backups in case the older birds don't survive. But if the older birds are growing strong and fine, then the younger birds get picked on a lot of times. Sometimes in some species, they'll even kill the younger birds. That's not just with birds of prey, but sometimes that happens. If there's enough food, they can all survive. But if there's not enough food, the older bird's getting the food, the younger bird is not getting the food, and when that younger bird might die of starvation in the nest, or it might not have enough strength that when it leaves the nest to learn how to hunt. And the parents ditch the babies pretty quickly in most species. So even though raptors and birds of prey have intense care of their young, a lot of times compared to a mammal, they would be viewed as heartless in how they raise their young. If you take a bird from a parent, they will defend it because that young offspring is carrying their genetic DNA. But then once you leave, they go right back to the nest and they couldn't care less because it's like, whatever, that was a spare. That's kind of the mentality of most birds. Now a dog, I lost my puppy, and we don't care. I'm not saying we should or shouldn't care. I'm not trying to preach some way of thinking in any direction. I'm only sharing this to try to give the point across that it is very strange that we apply certain rules to mammals and we don't apply it to birds, and we apply certain rules to birds we don't apply to mammals. The truth of the matter is, training a bird in falconry and letting them fly totally free, let them hunt every day. Hey, you're going to go out, you're going to fly free, and you choose to come back. And a lot of people rip on falconry online and say, oh, well, they starve their birds into submission. No, you don't starve our birds. It's weight management. I'm an overweight guy. If you said, Ben, if you run a marathon, I'm going to give you a hamburger, I'll be like, no, thanks. Same thing. A fat bird is going to sit there and conserve calories. They're not just I'm just going to wander around and fly. We get our birds fit and in shape. We cut the fat. We build the muscle, just like training an Olympic athlete. That is what you're trying to do. Your bird is an Olympic athlete. We don't starve them into submission like people are saying. And you're not, if you pull a baby bird, you're not kidnapping it from its mother. Its mother, once it's gone in a couple of weeks, and will compete with it in the wild. It's not having some emotional response. These are hard facts in the natural world. We may not like these harsh truths. We may like to Disneyfy kind of our view of nature, but it's not real. The reality is nature is harsh, and I'm just sharing the facts of how it is. You can form your own opinions on falconry and wildlife management however you want. I'm just sharing the truth of the matter is. So, in conclusion, falconry is a totally natural experience for predator and prey. The only odd thing is that a bird is on your fist when it starts the hunt. And it may catch its prey, it may not. But either way, it is a natural experience for both predator and prey that is not unnatural in any way. And again, if you take a bird from the wild and fly it, hunt with it, maybe you set it free a year or two down the road, it goes back to just being a wild bird. It's not like, oh, I miss Ben. I remember that season that he caught me and flew me and we hunted together. They're not experiencing an emotional loss. You're a source of food. You're a hunting companion. You are an advantageous opportunity for them. No different than, certain animals will get around certain areas because they know, oh, there's a lot of buffalo coming through here. They're going to flush up a bunch of sage grouse. Okay, well, an eagle's going to wait and come down and catch a sage grouse. It's not buddies with the buffalo, and it's the same thing. Your hawk isn't your buddy. Even if you develop a strong connection, they don't miss you if they go back to the wild. They're not glad to be gone. They're just doing their thing. They're glad to be with you because you provide a more advantageous situation. Guaranteed meal every day, protection from the cold, protection from the extreme of heat, guaranteed clean water, and the freedom to still fly and come back when you're done. So you are providing a better opportunity for them. And if they don't have that opportunity to go back to the wild, it's a less advantageous opportunity being in the wild, but it's what they're built to do, so they're fine. They're not emotionally grieving your loss. And nor is a parent who, if you pull a baby, nor is that parent in any way grieving their loss, like a puppy with a dog and losing a puppy. So I think we need to just be honest about some of these harsh truths. And I think it's important that we share them honestly, and that we share them honestly with other people, because there's a lot of people who rip on falconry who apply human emotions to these birds that are not there. And yet, all the while entirely neglecting the emotions that the mammals that we keep may actually be having. So anyways, kind of a ranty type thing, but I just wanted to share just some thoughts I was thinking about today. I hope you enjoyed this subject. I just kind of talk usually about whatever has been going on in my life and whatever subjects I've been thinking about that day. So I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. And as always, happy hawking.